Hello students. Today we are going to start previous year question series and we will do previous year questions of the 2006. Then we will do this increasing order from 6 to 20, and these previous year questions are very important for NEET, and we are going to do the subject of the biology. So let's get started. I am Meenu. So what's the first question? What would be the number of chromosomes in the cells of the alluron layer in the plant species with chromosome numbers in its synergids? Then synergids are two short-lived haploid cells lying close to the egg in mature embryo sac of flowering plant, and while the endosperm is a triploid tissue formed after triple fusion. Thus, if the synergids have 8 chromosomes, the alluron layer part of endosperm will have just triple of that of chromosomes in the synergids. So what would be the number of chromosomes in the synergid? It would be the 24, and answer is the B number. So see the second question. Pineapple ananas fruit develops from. So answer, look at the how is develops ananas. The fruit ananas cosmos comosus इसका its scientific name is Ananas comosus. Pineapple or ananas is Sorosis, a type of multiple fruits developing from spike, spadix or catkin. In this type of flowers, associated by their succulent tepals, the axis bearing them grows and becomes fleshy or woody. Thus, the whole inflorescence turns into a compact fruit. So, what would be the answer of this? Here, the answer is the C number. A cluster of compactly borne flowers on a common axis. So, let's see what the third question. Golden rice is a promising transgenic crop. When released for cultivation, it will help in alleviation of vitamin A deficiency. So answer is the A option. A plant in which gene has been transferred through genetic engineering is called a transgenic plant, and the gene so transferred is a transgenic gene. Transgene. Golden rice is a promising transgenic crop which, when released for cultivation, will help in alleviation of vitamin A deficiency. So, question number 4. Parthenocarpic tomato fruits can be produced by. So, parthenocarpy. What is parthenocarpy? Parthenocarpy is the development of fruits without prior fertilization, which results in the formation of seedless fruits. In some plant species, parthenocarpic seedless fruits may be produced naturally, or they may be induced by treatment of the unpollinated flowers with auxin. Example: parthenocarpic tomatoes fruits can be produced by treating the plants with low concentration of gibberellic acids, promotes fruit set, and auxin completes the development process. So, removal of androecium before pollen release is called emasculation, which is helpful in preventing unwanted poor pollination. And what is vernalized seeds? These are the chill treated seeds for breaking dormancy. Phenylmercuric acetate is an anti-transpirant. So here would be the answer is option number B. So treating the plants with the low concentration of gibberellic acids and auxins. So let's see next question. How does pruning help in making the hedge dense? So here is the answer. Pruning helps in making the hedge dense as it frees the axillary buds from apical dominance. In fact, the apices of the plant axis like shoot apex has the highest concentration of auxin which suppresses the axillary buds while promotes the growth of apical bud. When the shoot apex is cut down through pruning, the axillary buds grow and the hedge becomes dense. So here is the answer is option number B. So it frees axillary buds from apical dominance. And the next question is the blue baby syndrome results from. So the blue baby syndrome results from methamoglobin. So what is this? Let's see about this something. The disease blue baby syndrome results from the methamoglobin. The main cause of this disease are the nitrate fertilizers on soils which enters the human body through water and converted to nitrites by microbial flora of intestine. The nitrites combine with hemoglobin to form methemoglobin, causing methemoglobinemia in adults and blue baby syndrome in newly born babies or infants. So let's see what the next question is. So next question is praying mantis is a good example of what? So praying mantis is a good example of social insect. So here can we understand about some things. Praying mantis. Praying mantis is a large social insect. It has a small triangular head and a long prothorax and abdomen consisting of 10 segments. The wings are well developed and the pincer-like forelegs are modified for grasping prey. It usually inhabits plantation areas. It destroys certain harmful insects, so it is useful. So let's see the next question. Which of the following statements is correct? Here are the some statements. We have to find the correct statement. Neurons regulate endocrine activity but not vice versa. Endocrine glands regulate neural activity and nervous system regulates the endocrine glands. Neither hormone control neural activity nor the neuron control endocrine activity. Endocrine glands regulates neural activity but not vice versa. So here is the answer is neurons regulate endocrine activity, not vice versa. The autonomous nervous system regulates the secretion of glands, whereas the glands do not regulate the nervous system. So next question is examination of blood of a person suspected from having anemia shows large immature nucleated erythrocytes without hemoglobin supplementing his diet with which of the following is likely to alleviate his symptoms? So here would be the answer is riboflavin. So let's see some explanation about this. Anemia refers to any condition in which there is a this deficiency or abnormally low hemoglobin concentration or blood cell count. The most common cause of deficiency of iron, which is an essential element of hemoglobin molecule. Thus the iron compounds in the diet will help to alleviate the symptoms of anemia. And we have to also know about thiamine and riboflavin. So thiamine is a chemical name of vitamin B1 deficiency causes very and riboflavin is a chemical name of vitamin B2 it causes deficiency its deficiency causes cirrhosis and skin diseases. So let's see the next question. And the next question is, farmers in the particular regions were concerned that premature yellowing of leaves of a pulse crop might cause decrease in the yield. Which treatment could be most beneficial to obtain maximum seed yield? So options are, here are the options, like frequent irrigation of the crop, treatment of the plants with the cytokinins along with a small dose of nitrogenous fertilizers, removal of all yellow leaves and spraying the remaining green leaves with 2,4,5 trichlorophenoxyacetic acid, application of iron and magnesium to promote synthesis of chlorophyll. So answer is option number D, application of the iron and magnesium to promote the synthesis of chlorophyll. Okay, then see the next question, number 11. In which of the following fruits is the edible part of the aril? So what is the edible part of the aril? Custard apple, pomegranate, orange and lychee. So in the lychee, aril is the edible part. So which one of the following? Its explanation doesn't required, but if you want then can see, aril is the edible part in the fruits of lychee. The aril is an accessory seed covering often formed from an outgrowth at the bare of the ovule. So the next question, which one of the following amino acids was not found to be synthesized in the Miller's experiment? So what is Miller's experiment? Miller and Urey were the two scientists who recreated the conditions of the primitive earth in laboratory and abiotically synthesized amino acids and bases. They synthesized glycine, aspartic acid, they synthesized bases and alanine in abundant quantities, while glutamic acid is not synthesized in their experiment. So here would be the answer is option number C, glutamic acid. Then we next question, crop plants grown in monoculture are, which crop plant grown in monoculture? Then options are low in yield, free from intra-specific competition, characterized by poor root system, highly prone to pests. Then highly prone to pests. crop grown in monocultures are. Then monoculture involves the exclusive cultivation of a single crop over wide areas. It is an efficient way to use certain kinds of soils, but the crop plants grown in monocultures are highly prone to pests, and thus it carries the risk of an entire crop being destroyed with the appearance of a single pest species or disease. So let's see the next question. Montreal Protocol, which calls for appropriate action to protect the ozone layer from human activities, was passed in the year. In which year it was passed? It was passed in the 1987. It should be remembered by you guys. And let's see what is Montreal Protocol. In 1987, 27 industrialized countries signed the Montreal Protocol for the reduction in production and release of ozone layer depletion CFCs, chlorofluorocarbon, into the atmosphere. It was followed by increasingly stringent amendments in London in 1990 and in Copenhagen in 1992. So let's see the next question. The formula for exponential population growth is. Dear student, this is a very important question. This should be in your fingertips. So this is an formula and you should guys remember this. Here is the answer is d. dn upon dt is equal to rn. This also came in around 2017 in the question paper of the NEET examination. And let's see about this some things. In J-shaped form of the population growth, the density increases in an exponential manner and then occurs or the increase stops abruptly as environmental resistance becomes effective. This is mathematically described by an equation of exponential or geometric increase, which is as follows: dn upon dt is equal to rn, where d is the rate of change, where d is the rate of change, rate of change, and t is the time. Okay, and the n is the number of females at the particular time. N is the number of the female at the particular time, and r is the biotic potential of each female. R is the biotic potential. Biotic potential. Okay, and then let's see the next question. Which one of the following is not used for construction of ecological pyramids? So dry weight, number of individuals, rate of energy flow, fresh weight. So fresh weight we don't use in the energy ecological pyramids, in the ecological pyramids. So ecological pyramids are the graphical representation of the trophic structure and function at the successive trophic levels. Ecological pyramids are of three general types of listed as here under. There are pyramid of number, and let me write here this. Okay, here the first one is pyramid of number, so showing the number of organisms at each level. And the second one is the pyramid of the biomass. Okay, and so this shows the total dry weight of the living matter, not fresh weight. Okay, and the third one is pyramid of the energy flow. Energy flow, and this shows the rate of energy flow and or productivity at successive tropic levels. Thus fresh weight is not used for the construction of ecological pyramids. So let's see the next question. And the next question is Nikkei overlaps indicates. Nikkei overlap what indicates? Nikkei overlap indicates two different parasites on the same host. So let's see about this something. Nikkei overlap is a measurement of the association of two or more species. This indicates their similar habitat requirement and may also indicate competition if tropic Nikkei or spatial Nikkei is same and food or space is limiting, like two different parasites on the same host. So have you guys understand this? In photosystem, the first electron acceptor is electron acceptor is an iron sulfur protein. This is also very important, you guys must have remembered this. Um, so let's see about some PS first. The primary electron acceptor is probably a iron sulfur protein. The reduced primary acceptor transfers the electron to secondary electron acceptor, most probably P430. The sequence of electrons would be, and the reduced P430 passes its electron to ferredoxin present at outer surface of the thylakoid membrane. So there is its reaction. Let me write here. If it would, then P 700, and here would be the chlorophyll A, and there would be an electron and A1. This is not actually important. This would not come in the examination, so you have to, this is your previous years 2006 questions, so some syllabus is reduced now. And let's see the next question. Treatment of seed at low temperature under moist conditions to break its dormancy is called. So it is called what? Stratification. Stratification involves the treatment of seeds at low temperature around 5 to 10 degrees Celsius. It should be around 5 to 10 degrees Celsius under sufficiently moist conditions to break its dormancy and to induce germination. And let's see what is scarification. Scarification involves any damage or breakage of seed coat by physical method, use of scalpel, wooden hammer, etc., or chemical method, use of mild acids to break seed dormancy. And what is vernalization? Then vernalization and chillation is the chill treatment of the plant in its early stages of life history to stimulate or induce early flowering. So let's see the next question. Which of the following is the most suitable medium for culture of Drosophila melanogaster? So Rice banana culture is the b- suitable medium for culture of Drosophila melanogaster. Drosophila melanogaster is commonly called as fruit fly and is often used in genetic and developmental biology researches. The ripe banana is the most suitable medium for the culture of this fly. Moist bread is a culture medium for the fungus Rhizopus, while agar-agar is used as a tissue culture medium. So let's see the next question. Which one of the following is not included under in situ conservation? So we have to first understand what is in situ conservation. In situ conservation means habitat. In that habitat we provide some facilities to that natural of affinity. And so here is sanctuary, botanical garden, biosphere reserves and national park. So answer is the botanical gardens. Botanical gardens like institutions that maintaining living plants collections representing a large number of species, genera and families are the means of ex situ conservation and conservation outside the habitats. So which is not included under in situ conservation, then it's botanical garden because it's not in situ conservation. And sanctuary, biosphere reserve and national park, these all are in situ. Okay, then let's see the next question. Which antibiotic inhibits interaction between tRNA and mRNA during bacterial protein synthesis? So the options are erythromycin, neomycin, streptomycin and tetracycline. So answer would be the tetracycline. Okay, so let's see the next question. Phenotype of an organism is the result of phenotype of an organism is the result of which options are mutations and linkages and cytoplasmic effects and nutrition, environmental changes and sexual dimorphism, genotype and environment interaction. So answer is the option D, genotype and environmental interactions. Phenotype is the observable characters or the total appearance of an organism. It is determined by its genes, the dominance relationships between the alleles, and by the interaction during development between its genetic constitution, genotype, and the environment. And the mutations leads to variation and linkage to store genotype, cytoplasmic effect, and nutrition generally do not determine the phenotype. Okay, the next question is photochemical smoke pollution does not contain what? So photochemical smoke pollution does not contain carbon dioxide. This is also very important question. By the way, all questions are important, but these are the most important in which I am talking. I am saying you particularly because these are really very important. So let's see what is photochemical smog. This is highly oxidizing polluted atmosphere comprising largely of ozone. It has ozone and oxides of nitrogen and hydrogen peroxide and peroxyacetyl nitrate, organic peroxides, peroxybenzyl nitrate. Some sulfates and nitrates can also be formed in photochemical smog due to oxidation of sulfur containing components such as sulfur dioxide and H2S and oxides of nitrogens, but it does not contain carbon dioxide. Photochemical smog materials and causes damage to plants, humans, health hazards and corrosion problems. Let's see the next question. Moss peat is used as a packing material for the sending flowers and leaf plants to distant places because options are: it is easily available, it is hygroscopic, it reduces transpiration, it serves as an disinfectant. Then it is hygroscopic. So, some facts also about this. Sphagnum is the bryophyte commonly called as bog moss or peat moss. It is hygroscopic and possesses a remarkable water holding capacity. Hence, it is used as a packing material in the transportation of flowers, live plants, tubers, bulbs, seedlings, etc. It is also used in seed beds and in moss sticks. So, let's see the next question. A common structural feature of vessels, elements, and sieve tubes elements is. So, what is the common feature of vessel elements and sieve tube elements? Tell me in the comment box. So, it is the pores on lateral walls. Okay. Let's see about these also something. The walls of both vessels and sieve tube elements are perforated by large openings. Due to these adaptations, the cell to cell contact is possible. The vessels are nucleated whereas the sieve tube elements are enucleated. Let's see the next question of ours. A common structural feature of vessel element. This is repeated questions, so you can yourself do this question. Okay. The thalloid body of a slime mold Maxomycetes is known as what? So thyroid body known as Protonema, Plasmodium, fruiting body Mycelium. Tell me the answer in the comment box. Sorry, here is the answer is option number B, Plasmodium. Slime mold Maxomycetes is known as Plasmodium. So the next question, in which mode of inheritance do you expect more maternal influence among the offsprings? Autosomal, cytoplasmic, Y-linked and X-linked. So what is the answer? Cytoplasmic is the answer. The more maternal influence can be expected in the cytoplasmic inheritance, like the inheritance of genes contained in the cytoplasm of a cell rather than the nucleus. So let's see the next question. What type of placentation is seen in sweet pea? Tell me, this is also the most important market. So in the sweet pea, which type of the placentation seen? Precental placentation is seen in the is. Tell me, it's precentral or marginal? It's marginal, not precentral. Okay. So let's see the next question. Next question. Long filamentous threads protruding at the end of a young cob of maize are of the options are anthers, styles, ovaries, and hairs. So the answer is the styles. So let's see about this. In a cob of maize, each ovary has a long silky hair known as style called as corn silk. Collectively, these styles protrude at the end of a young cob. The grains are formed on the cob which remains covered by the leafy bracts. See the next question. Conifers differs from grasses in the Conifers differs from grasses in which feature? Production of seed from ovules, lack of xylem tracheates, absence of pollen tubes, formation of endosperm before fertilization. So it differs from formation of endosperm before fertilization. Okay, so then the next question is how many different kind of gametes will be produced by the plant having the genotype AA, BB and CC. So the types of gametes produced by a plant depends upon the number of heterozygous pairs. So number of types of gametes, number of types of gametes would be Zn. So here is the n. What is the n? N is the number of heterozygous pair. So if here would be the heterozygous pair is the 1, and so the answer would be the 2. The answer, what would be the answer? Answer would be the 2. Okay, if you guys don't understanding anything, then write in the comment box. Okay, let's see question number 133. In maize, hybrid vigor is exploited by the hybrid vigor is exploited by bombarding the protoplast with DNA, crossing of two interbreed parental lines, harvesting seeds from the most productive plants, introducing mutation. So the answer is crossing of two inbreed parental lines. Let's see the next question. Which of the following statements regarding mitochondrial membrane is not correct? The outer membrane is permeable to all kinds of molecules. The enzymes of the electron transport chain are embedded in the outer membrane. The inner membrane is highly convoluted, forming a series of enfoldings. The outer membrane resembles a sieve. So tell me the answer. The answer is the enzyme of the electron transport chain are embedded in the outer membrane. This is also very important. Mark it. See the next question. Amino acid sequence in protein synthesis is decided by the sequence of tRNA, cDNA, mRNA and rRNA. Tell me the answer in the comment box. So answer is the mRNA. And the next question, a person showing unpredictable moods, outburst of emotion, quarrelsome behavior and conflicts with others is suffering from schizophrenia, borderline personality disorder, mood disorder, addictive disorder. So the answer is option number A, schizophrenia. Sulfur is an important nutrient for optimum growth and productivity in pulse crops, cereals, fiber crops, oilseed crops. In the pulse crop, sulfur is very important. So let's see next question. pentamerous actinomorphic flowers, bicarpellary ovary with oblique septa and fruit. A capsule or berry are characteristic feature of what? This is the characteristic feature of Solanaceae family. Okay, so let's see the next question. The next question is amino acid sequence. This is also we have already done. How many ATP molecules could maximally be generated from one molecule of glucose if the complete oxidation of 1 mole of glucose to carbon dioxide and water yields in 686 kilocalorie, and the useful chemical energy available in the high energy phosphate bond of 1 mole of ATP is 12 kilocalorie. This would be a very easy question to you guys because you all guys learning chemistry, but let's start and see about this. What can we do? Here is would be the 30 ATP molecules could be generated from 686 kilocalorie energy. Okay, an organic substance bound to an enzyme and essential for its activity is called. Tell me, this is a very easy question. Tell me, tell me fast in the comment box. So the answer is coenzyme. Okay. So the next question is Bowman's glands are found in olfactory epithelium, external auditory canal, cortical nephrons only, juxtamedullary nephrons. So the answer is olfactory epithelium. Let's see the next question. The bacterium Clostridium botulinum that causes botulism is a facultative anaerobe, an obligate anaerobe, a facultative aerobe, an obligate aerobe. So what's the answer? The answer is an obligate anaerobe. Which one of the following is correctly matched pair of an endangered animal and a national park? Lion, Corbett National Park, rhinoceros, Kaziranga National Park, wild ass, Dudhwa National Park, Great Indian Bustard, Koiladev National Park. So what's the answer is then? Correctly matched is the rhinoceros because rhinoceros is found in the Kaziranga National Park, Assam. Let's see the next question. Next question, in moss of the sporophyte, what would be? It is partially parasitic on the gametophyte, producing gametes that give rise to the gametophyte, arise from the spore produced from the gametophyte, manufactures food for itself as well as for the gametophyte. So the answer is it is moss is in the sporophyte of the moss. It is partially parasitic on the gametophyte. So the next question is curing of tea leaves is brought about by the activity of what? Bacteria, mycorrhiza, viruses and fungi. So it is bacteria. The next question is people living at sea level have around 5 million RBCs per cubic millimeter of their blood, whereas those living at an altitude of 5,400 meters have around 8 million. This is because at high altitude. So people get pollution free air to breathe and more oxygen is available. Atmospheric oxygen level is less and hence more RBCs are needed to absorb the required amount of oxygen to survive. There is more ultraviolet radiation which enhances RBC's production. People eat more nutrient food, therefore more RBCs are formed. So what would be the answer of this? Atmospheric oxygen level is less and hence more RBCs are needed to absorb and the required amount of oxygen to survive. This is also very important question. Just mark it. Let's see the next question. An environment evidence in favor of organic evolution is the occurrence of an important evidence in the favor of organic evolution is the occurrence of homologous and vestigial organs, analogous and vestigial organs, analogous and homologous organs only, homologous and analogous organs both. So what's the answer is? Answer is homologous and vestigial organs both. Okay. Which one of the following is not a living fossil? Which one of not a living fossil? Okay. You have this type of question also very confusing because you will see question and you will do in the flow what is living fossil. So you have to first read the question very carefully. Okay. And this is very easy question. So tell me the answer. Archaeopteryx is not a living fossil. Okay. Let's see the next question. The next question is annual migration does not occur in the case of salmon, Siberian crane, salamander, Arctic tern. So the answer is the salamander. Okay, next question. A major breakthrough in the studies of cell came with the development of electron microscope. This is because the resolution power of the electron microscope is much higher than that of the light microscope. The resolving power of the electron microscope is 200 to 350 nanometer is as compared to zero point 0.1 to zero point 0.2 nanometer for the light microscope. Electron beam can pass through thick materials whereas light microscopy required thin sections. The electron microscope is more powerful than light microscope as it uses a beam of electrons which has wavelength much longer than that of photons. So what would be the answer? Answer would be the resolution power of the electron microscope is much higher than that of the light microscope. Okay, so now we have completed this and thank you for hearing me patiently. And guys, please like, share and subscribe because I am trying, and comment what are you understand, what are you not understand, what do you want. Okay, and please support me. Thank you.